All right, we are live. I think MJ's trying to figure it out still yet, but hopefully he can get on. But we got Kevin and Dr. Leslie here.
Hey
We
everyone.
got
Hey, how's it
Matt and
going?
Jess from Mojo Mindset and
What's
Jen
going
and Kenny.
on?
So welcome. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone had a great 4th of July weekend. And yeah,
Yeah.
I've been, doing quite a bit of lives recently, and I've been noticing one of the biggest questions that come up quite a bit is how do couples either get their partner on board or just how do they navigate around, family life and parenting and, working multiple jobs. Hold on. So yeah, so who wants to get started on this or introduce yourselves?
I guess we'll start. All
Yeah, we
right.
can start.
I'm Kevin. This is my wife, Leslie.
That would be me. No worries.
So
Yeah, we have a couple. I feel like this is a really good live stream for us to join because we have a couple businesses together. We have a real estate development business where we renovate and hold properties, and a lending business. I also have a separate business. I own a recruiting agency, and Kevin still has a 9 to 5. And we have a young son. He'll be 2 tomorrow. So lots of navigating and balancing as it relates to business, finances, and family.
I think the biggest thing is we split up our work. I do more of like the front facing of everything. Like I handle the contractors. I try to find clients for the mortgage brokerage we have, and she does more of the back office because she's a beast at systems. Straight up, like my wife is amazing at
Oh, thank
systems.
you.
I am not that detail oriented. Uh, I fail horribly
Not
at
horribly.
systems, but she teaches me her ways.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So it seems like you guys complement each other well. Do any of you other couples maybe face like different, still in the process of trying to figure out how to navigate things?
Oh yeah, I think I hear you, Kevin, because I'm like that. I'm like the dreamer, and Jess is sort of the integrator. She kind of is like, you didn't really think about that process all the way like to how we implement it. It's just like these ideas that we just thrown against the wall, and so that definitely resonates with us and our dynamic.
What about us, Kenny? You want to speak to that?
Uh, well, you're the more front-facing one, um, and I'm the behind-the-scenes guy. I'm the one that underwrites the deal, does the bookkeeping, um, basically all that stuff. Jen is the one that reaches out to agents, deals with basically anything dealing with people. Jen does.
Yeah, Jen tries to say she's an introvert, but I don't really believe her because I mean she's always trying to reach, social media people, trying to get them on Michael Zuber's channel, and it seems like she's trying to wholesale and talk to agents and things like that. So, Kenny, do you really think she's an introvert?
No,
I
no,
am. There's a place where there's like, what did you call me, Kenny? You said I'm the extrovert of
she's,
introverts.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so I don't have a social media presence. I'm not posting. What do you call those, like lurkers? So I'm more of that. But behind the
Behind
scenes,
the
I
scenes.
don't mind, talking to people and approaching them. But I'm not. Yeah, I don't flash at all. I'm a little shy in that aspect. So yeah, Kenny, I think said it the right way. I'm the extrovert of the introverts.
I think Leslie resonates with you because her social juices can run dry.
It's like an intentional thing. Like you can turn it on, you will turn it on. You prefer to turn it off as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Well, I just
Yeah.
want to remind everyone that Mojo Mindset, I put his YouTube channel in the comments, and Real Estate Brew, I put there. Kevin and Leslie also have a YouTube channel. So go check them out, go subscribe, help them out. And Jen and Kenny, are you guys working on a YouTube channel yet as a couple or?
Not
No.
not quite there. I hope to do something maybe before the end of the year. Like I was telling Mark that I did a little bit. I just decided to video us like on a random Friday morning after I dropped off the kids. More so to like document because one thing I fear is that we'll get older and busier and we'll forget. And I would love to look back, even a year later and say, oh my God, how did that deal come about? What did I do? What did Kenny do? What did we learn from it? And then share that with our 2 girls later on. So on a random Friday, I just said, hey, Kenny, let's just tape this and just keep it. And if we decide to make it public, let's do it. But if not, we'll have that, right? At least on our hard drive or something. That was funny, right, Kenny? That was hilarious. It was a lot of awkward moments of and looking at each other.
Yes.
Blank stares.
Just
And
gotta get started. I
we're
mean,
like, we're
that's
not
all it
gonna
really
publish
is.
that guy.
I mean, like Kevin and Leslie, their YouTube channel, they're super smooth and they kind of work really well together. So I love what they're doing out there. I mean,
Thank you.
so yeah, and you also have another YouTube channel, also, right?
Yeah, with my best friend, we do movie reviews. It's called Real Life Reviews. We're kind of behind because I've been so busy with real estate and just life. As my pastor said yesterday, life be life, and so as our pastor said, yeah.
I love that.
So
And Leslie, you also came up, during our interview that I had you on, you folks, you had a kind of a way to describe like why you guys are doing this. Do you remember kind of the term that you like to refer to this kind of financial path that you're putting yourselves on?
Yeah, the term is occupational freedom. So just the ability to do the kind of work that we want to do, that we're passionate about, but also having the freedom to do it when we want to do it. So still being able to travel, vacation, spend as much time with our little guy as we can, all the things.
Is that kind of the rest of your folks' whys also is like occupational freedom?
I think so. Well, it's kind of a different mindset for Matt and I, since we're both in the Coast Guard, so we've kind of signed away many years of our life, which it's important work that we do and it's fun, but it's definitely a commitment for us. So we're hoping to kind of use that to set a solid foundation for ourselves, and then maybe like 15 years down the line when we hit our 20 years retirement, then that kind of opens up a whole world for us. So right now we're kind of in the phase of like just working kind of really hard and trying to set that foundation.
Well, thank you for your service, by the
Thank you
way.
for your service.
Thank
Oh,
you.
appreciate
Yes,
that.
thank you.
We appreciate that.
All
That's
right,
huge.
he got his camera working, so MJ's jumping in to help me out here. What's up, MJ?
What's up, Mark? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now, man.
Okay, perfect.
Cool. And just wanted to say Homes and Hustle, Sierra has stopped by. I don't know if Matt, I can't tell. Or Matt, are you wearing the shirt right now?
Oh, this
Is she
about
made?
to go to the gym here, so it's a workout shirt.
Oh, okay. But
Same.
thanks, Sierra. I put your YouTube channel in the comments, and Janitor on Fire also stopped by. So go check out his YouTube channel, Postal Nerds. He's doing some cool stuff out there, showing different post office. He's going to be retiring from the post office pretty soon, but he's showing like smaller post offices around the country. So go check him out. But yeah. So yeah, let's see where were we at right now. So actually, I don't know who wants to take this, but like, how did you folks? Were you guys all investing before you guys, became married or coupled, or how was you guys investing before all of this?
We were not investing.
Not at all. Not at all. We were working the regular 9 to 5. My wife is super dope, right? So I always have these dreams or visions or ideas, and I just throw them out there. And then like somehow Leslie just catches them and just says like, "Oh, we're gonna figure this out and make it happen." And one day I was like, either I'm gonna get a second. We were pregnant with our son Trip, and we're like looking at how much daycare costs in Pittsburgh. It's like, well, how much is it? How much you paying?
I think now for infants it's $1,800 a month.
$1,800 a month.
Oh wow.
And we're like, okay, either I'm going to get a second job or we're going to get in real estate. And then Leslie was like, we're going to get in real estate basically. And then she started looking up. We had a scheduled a conversation with an investor, great guy. And he just told us certain words like private money, hard money, and they start throwing these things out there. And we were like, we have no idea what hard money is or private money. So Leslie, being who she is, she starts looking on YouTube and she finds April Crossley, who's our coach, and she's talking about private money. And then we just it just ballooned from there. And that's kind of how it started for us. A lot of bumps in the roads, as you know, when you start off investing.
Maybe we should thank the cost of childcare for our rationale for getting into investing.
Yeah.
That's that silver lining, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the reason. Our little guy's at daycare today. He's happy as a lark, as they would say back in the day, and yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
MJ,
I
do you
don't.
have any questions for them? I mean, I know. Are you? So I forget. Do you have a girlfriend? Are you married?
I have a girlfriend. I'm not married yet.
So is there?
So the
How's
answer,
that relationship investing wise?
right. So next month would make 3 years of us being together,
Congratulations.
and
Yeah, that's
thank you,
awesome.
thank you. In the beginning, we, do our walks in the park and stuff like that. And we talk about, our goals in the next 2 to 5 years and stuff. And it's like, what you want to do? Oh, I want a duplex. I want this and that. But it was just like a general conversation. And for us to get there, it was like, it's crazy how we like subconsciously manifested that into reality. But in the beginning, we wasn't investing. Throughout the relationship, I end up, getting my property. She got a single family home, and so yeah.
So what do you guys think the biggest struggle is? Is it like how do you guys make investment decisions together?
Um, well, so I look at the deals. I pretty much, figure out the rents in the area so I can know how much or up until what amount I can will want to get pre-approved for example, right? So I know within this zip code, if this a duplex for 315,000 and the rent is this much, then it's not a good deal. So me just knowing the numbers up front and kind of explaining, and she like, well, I mean, she just listens, she open, and she do more because she a property manager in her 9 to 5, so she know how to manage the property overall. So it's a good balance for me, like getting the deals, figuring out the numbers, and like once I get the property or deal, she can get like the contractors, the HVAC guy, plumber, stuff like that because she contract them throughout the properties she's managing through her 9 to 5. So that's the balance we got.
I love that. Yeah. I think that's super helpful in a relationship. I mean, being on the same path. I mean, so like Kenny and Jen, like how do you guys balance like investing and lifestyle? Like for example, right now you guys are in two different places, right?
I think it's hard.
Yeah.
It's super hard. Like I just dropped off two girls at different camps for the summer, and then now I'm taking this at the parking lot. Then I have to go to work after, and sometimes there's deals, and Kenny needs to like step aside from like we're both just W-2 workers. He'll have to take his meeting or not pick up on for a wholesaler, right, Kenny, and or
Yeah.
contractors, and then take a step outside for a little bit and talk to them. So I don't know if Kenny, if you want to speak to that. For me, it's hard to balance everything with work and kids and trying to like get enough rest, but then also do the daily work. And then there's, my parents are older, and all that is has been a struggle. So for me, Zuber just said like there's 4 stages. I feel like we're a little bit older, but we're still in that stage 2 grind mode. So we've extended, how he was like, oh, he just talked to it with Dion, right? And Lumberjack, like you can extend it or shorten it, but you want to have stage 3 the longest. I feel like we've just by not having the financial knowledge we've extended stage 2 past what we probably wanted to or could have, but we're there. So for me, I just keep on reminding myself this is grind mode to get to stage 3. So that's kind of where I stand. I feel like we focused on just the career path, right? So we're not entrepreneurs. Kenny will say that through and through. We're W-2. And before Zuber, we also thought that that was wrong and that's not okay. So we totally relate to Zuber because he just admits that he's a W-2 and that's okay. And you haven't heard that for many, many years, right? So finally, okay, we're W-2 workers, it's okay. And so take advantage of that. But we always thought the W-2 path was the way to success and financial freedom up till maybe just a couple of years ago, right? So we never, focused on real estate or even like stocks, I would say. I mean, Kenny 10 years ago told me, when I would say like, what's his goals and what does he want to do? He would say he wants 10 homes by the time he retires. I remember saying that, right, Kenny?
Yeah.
But I wasn't smart enough and I was like, oh, okay, great. Good for you. We have a lot of time. I wasn't smart enough to say, what will it take to get there? So my biggest regret or lesson is that I gotta pay attention to Kenny more, because when he says stuff, maybe it means something, and I shouldn't ignore it and say okay and go back to, watching reality TV or something like that. Like, I just didn't focus on the right thing. I always thought like the career and the corporate ladder would be the way to success, and I focused a lot, like over a decade, trying to get there, but not understanding what real financial freedom is and how to get there. I don't know, Kenny, did you want to speak to that? I mean, as far as balance, I guess balance and kind of what we did wrong and where you think we're at.
The balance, it is tough. Balancing busy W-2 and having to do when issues in real estate come up, those are tough. I think what ends up giving is a lot of sleep. So I know I'm perpetually tired, but it is grind mode stage. So in the end, it should be worth it.
Yeah, that's why I was getting a lot of shit on the live yesterday, because they said I just sleep at the firehouse, and I think MJ was one of the guys giving me shit about it. But yeah, I do get a lot of time to rest at the firehouse, and I do get a lot of work done, so that does help. But I know it's a struggle. So even like Matt and Jess, how do you guys balance? If you guys separate, like you said in the beginning, right? Military wise, you guys are living in two different areas, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were, well, because we've been married for 5 years now, but we've only been living together in the same house for about a year. And I think, we started, when we first got married, we had to fly to see each other. And at that point, we didn't have any finances or anything combined. So I think it just took over time. In our life, I mean, it constantly, is changing. Every few years we move to a different spot. There's different assignments, different duty schedules. We don't have kids or anything, so we hope to soon. But I imagine that will add another, kind of chaos into the mix. But we are always just try to be as adaptable as we can, and we really work together to identify like maybe what we need at that moment, even like week by week or day by day. And it's always just like a partnership. Like, I don't feel like, I mean, we kind of do have defined roles a bit, but we also like share equally. Like, we'll pick up where the other one is maybe busy or is working late or something like that. So but it's taken like over time and consistently developing over time and trying to be adaptable. Because I know like our life now is not going to look the same as it is in 3 months and everything. So it's like we're never really in a routine, which can sometimes be a downfall, because I'm like, I want to get in this routine of stuff, and that's always a struggle. But it's just kind of like accepting that that's a part of like our kind of our life, is it's ever changing. And to just not be like too focused or like too hard on ourselves, and to just try to remain flexible. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's it. Kind of like what Jen said, is that season 2 of grind mode. Like, we just accepted that this grind mode is going to bring some uncertainties, some changes, and just be flexible. And as long as we're really just realizing that we can do it together, then that's all you can kind of push through this season, if you will.
Yeah, and I think
go ahead.
Oh, I just think that it also just comes down to like, I mean, just classic like communication and trust that you have to have. Like, we try to talk about everything, and like trust. Like, you just got to trust that your partner is going to be, and I think that goes down to like what are your goals and what are you like what are your values, how do you want to live your life. I think that Matt and I, like, since we've been living together just this past year, I really talked about, like, how do we want to live, like, our day to day, or what values do we have. I think that we've tried to, like, simplify our life a lot, and take away a lot of, like, the unnecessary things that are just burdensome to us, like even just like clutter, I think, or having things, whatever is going to take, like, mentally, like a mental pull away from us, so we can kind of just kind of relaxes the situation for us and makes us a little bit more able to be, like, flexible and adaptable. So
So I want to give a shout out to old guy REI Frank for stopping by, and he's another great person I should have tried to get on. But like him and his wife, they lost everything in the 2008 crash, real estate wise, and they kind of just got back in the past few years. So it was a struggle for them. Basically they filed bankruptcy, and yeah, they lost everything. It must have been a struggle to even convince her to want to do this again. So shout out to him. Go check out his YouTube channel. I put it in the comments. And Chris, Invest LYH, just stopped by. He also has a good YouTube channel. He does a lot of economics in the Lynchburg area, but he has a question. So maybe Kevin and Leslie can tackle this one. So um, has anyone talked about working with their significant other? What was the task allocation like? Did someone take care of day to day and someone else take care of the large picture idea? So you kind of touched on this, but maybe you can go a little more in depth about it.
Yeah, so I would say we definitely ended up him being more front face, me being more back of the house, just because that's our different strengths. But I would say even more importantly than the task allocation is to make sure that there's flexibility there, because life still happens. People still get sick, people still get overwhelmed, stressed. So I think, even though Kevin handles the contractor pieces, if he's having a tough time with the contractor or just having a really busy week, being able to say, okay, how can I step in, and vice versa. I think that flexibility is really key. In communicating when you're struggling and you need somebody to step in, your partner to step in and help you. It might even be more powerful than the task allocation.
Like, she's like the boogeyman when it comes to contractors.
What?
Like, so like literally, she's the money person. So I'm like, well, Leslie said this is what we have.
I think what he meant to say is good cop, bad
There you
cop.
go.
She's the
Boogeyman.
boogeyman. She's like, man, I'd be like, man, I don't know, man. I got to talk to my wife, talk to my left. You ever had that situation when people knock on the door or they try to sell something? You always like, I got to talk to my wife. Same situation in real estate with us.
MJ, you
I'm
taking
the
notes?
same.
MJ, you taking notes on this?
Yes, sir. I'm all ears. Keep going.
Yeah, man. That's how we operate a little bit. And like she said, life happens, right? We actually lost our daughter in March of this year, and so I had to take more of like the talking to our lenders, right? I typically don't do that, where Leslie does that more often than I do, right? She handles that part, but because we had experienced a loss, I had to step in and at least be able to handle that piece of the communication, right? So like, even if your partner handles parts of the business, you want to be as involved as much as possible. Even if you're not may not be saying anything, you want to be able to at least be able to handle having conversations that may need to be had if something happens where unexpected things happen, right?
Mhm.
So like you said, be flexible, and respect each other's boundaries.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. And also, one thing I always say this is like, when you work in the business with your spouse, it's so easy to get consumed with just business only. Me and Leslie make an active, conscious decision to make date night every Friday, right? Just put our son to sleep. He got his great bed schedule. Put in the bed, whether that's me and her just spending quality time or getting somebody to watch our son, whatever we do, because we want to make sure that we still date each other. And this is not just my
Business
coworker,
partner,
my business
yeah.
partner, or my coworker, right? So
I have one more thing just to add to that. Since Kevin mentioned the loss of our daughter, we got into couples counseling just naturally because that was a tough thing to process, a lot of grief. But I will say that I would actually recommend couples therapy for any spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is, in general with your business partners, because we've been able to talk about so much stuff about our business and just help facilitating like frustrations and better communication plans. So I think if you have the means and the capacity to engage in that kind of thing, do it.
I can't we kind of tapped into this question: how do we set boundaries and separate work from personal life? We cut off, like literally. We'll just say we're done. Like last week, Leslie had a conversation with her therapist. His therapist is like, I think you need to take a week off. Rest a week off to spend the time with our son. He's home from daycare, and I was like, cool, babe, I'll handle it. So that's kind of how we operate. We set hard deadlines. We allot certain time. We have multiple businesses, so when Leslie gets up in the morning, she has X amount of hours for Salty Careers, X amount of hours for our mortgage brokerage, 3 Acres Funding, X amount of hours for Inc. Real Estates. So like that's what she does. And then once our son comes home, we might handle a few conversations, but it's pretty much done.
And we might have to circle back at night, but we do try to have like some dedicated time to specific things throughout the day.
Yeah.
MJ, did you see the video like Jen was talking about the four phases, like Zuber's talking about the four phases kind of life or the path?
Um, I, I see a lot of videos of Zuber, Lumberjack, Dion, you. What was the phases exactly? What could somebody kind of give me like a mini recap of the four phases exactly?
So it's kind of like your the first phase is you're born and you have your 18 years under your parents, and then the second phase is kind of that work hustle phase, the grind. Then the third phase is kind of that try to get to that retirement or financial freedom phase, and then the last phase is kind of when almost like someone else is taking care of you in a sense, where you're at that age where you need some help. But Lumberjack made a great point that he feels that there's a phase missing in there, and it's almost like that 1.5 phase of after that first 18 years, and then before you really get into that hustle mindset or grind, there's that screw around phase in a sense where it's just like you're trying to you're goofing around, buying the new toy, the new item, spending all your money. I mean, is that kind of maybe the path that you saw yourself? Because I definitely went down that path. I mean, and then that even prevented like even getting into like relationships, like long-term relationships, right? You're just spending a lot of money, having fun, partying. I mean, has that been a struggle for yourself?
It was a struggle for me because before, like I told you, I kind of my whole how I got into real estate was because I had a gambling problem. I was spending 5, 6 thousand at a time, losing it. 2, 3 hours. So I make decent money. I get paid every week. So I just said it got to be another way I could allocate my money. I didn't like the stock market because it reminded me of gambling, and I needed an asset class to where it was kind of illiquid almost. Real estate, you put your money there and it's there. You gotta have good credit to pull it out. You gotta have money to sometimes pull it out. So I figured this more of my leech as far as real estate. To simply answer your question, Mark, yeah, it was a time. I mean, you see $5, 6 thousand go down the drain in 30 minutes of a game. Yeah, that's tough, right? So, I had to change it up, and I did have I'm gonna say maybe a year and a half, 2 years, to when I just caught on and just, was real with myself, and just said like I can't continue to do this. I make good money. I don't need to be gambling my money every single week or I don't want this to determine my future because it was getting bad. So, I stayed disciplined and dove into the real estate because it was a e-liquid asset, so I didn't have the easiness to get my money back out the deal, or like I said, to get money out of real estate as far as buy and hold, you gotta get a second mortgage, a HELOC, etc. So that take time. That take credit pulling. That take money sometimes. That take a good credit score. So I'm not gonna do all that to get my money out, so I just leave it there and just play the mid to long term win. But I did have a phase where I was just blowing money and not really trying to figure it out. I guess essentially. Yeah.
As usual, Dion finds the blind spot, right, in someone's theories or whatnot. So yeah, I think I think most of us, I mean, I'm speaking for myself, but I think we've all gone through that kind of 1.5 phase where you're not really thinking about the investing or long-term future and whatnot. But Invest LYH says, yeah, he thinks it's excellent advice for anyone cutting off all investment activities for the most part for a while to recover. Yeah. What about you, Matt and Jess? Do you guys travel? I mean, how do you guys get away from things?
How do we-
Driving your
Yeah.
Tesla and
Yeah,
maybe
no,
videos,
we
Tesla videos.
no, well, I think for us too, it's like you said, like, that that season, that grind season, like, I think if you look back and people that have, I guess, quote unquote made it, right, like they kind of look back and like, I wish I could have appreciated some of those moments or appreciated the journey. And so I think it's easy to maybe feel a little bit guilty to splurge and travel, but I think everything is in excess or in moderation, so to speak. So like for us, it could be visiting family, traveling back home, going to like Orlando, or like, Jess's sister just moved out to Seattle. So like there might be an opportunity for us to, hey, maybe take a week, travel to Seattle, explore and kind of be present in a different area to maybe reset, if you will. So
well, speaking about the traveling piece, like we're not that big of a travel people. I don't know. It just seems exhausting to me. I don't know if anybody else is
Jen,
the
what is
same.
going on, Jen?
Oh,
My kid's doctor called me like in the middle of it. Now I don't know. Ken's trying to text me
That's
to
all
tell me
right.
which way.
We're live.
I haven't-
You just
yeah.
roll with
Am I
it.
upside down now, or right side up,
You're
or sideways?
sideways
Or
now.
You're
that's just like
sideways.
literally what my brain is right now.
Everybody lean their head to the right. We'll be good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna take myself off. Okay.
But here, so Kevin, as you guys talked about, couples therapy and whatnot. But here's another good question. If anyone else has some suggestion, but what strategies do you use to manage disagreements or differing opinions?
Tabling them. We table conversations if we don't agree. And my dad always taught me something so simplistic, especially when it comes to like buying property. He said, if you have peace about a decision, you make the decision. And if me and Leslie don't have peace about a property or a decision, we don't make it.
Yeah.
So if it's one of us don't have peace in that agreement, we just walk away. And that was one of the biggest advice that my dad gave me that helped us, especially when we were buying our own personal home. There's like 3 properties she loved. Like she would ready to walk in the door, put everything inside. And I was like, babe, I don't got peace about it. And every time there was a major issue with the property.
Yeah.
So we kind of bring that into our real estate business as well.
And I do think that the tabling strategy is a great one to use. Just saying, hey, I can't talk about this right now. Let's table it for later. But then the other person also being willing to actually talk about it. Like, okay, you can't talk about it now. When can we circle back to this conversation today? That's really helpful.
Kenny, what about you folks? Do you guys have any recommendations or advice? Like Trade Better 99, thanks for stopping by, Harrison. So he'll be on his first live with us on Wednesday. But his question is, how do you resolve table investment disagreements?
Yeah, for us, when it comes to acquisition parts, we both need to agree 100%. If one of us has any doubts or just doesn't feel like this property is the right one, we just don't do that deal. When it comes to, I think that's pretty much where most of any disagreements we have. When it comes to like operational thing, I think the person whose main role is to do that will probably have a more weight in terms of their opinion, since they're the ones, mainly operating in that field. Like, for example, if there's anything with contractor facing, Jen's usually talks to the contractor. Since she's the one talking to them, she'll have more weight on, what to do with that. But overall, it's just communication. Listen to each other's sides and figure out from there. You got to work as a team.
I love that. MJ, you
If
got
Kenny-
any questions for them? Oh, go, Jen.
I was gonna say, if Kenny talks to the contractor, words might come out that are not appropriate for kids. So I try to.
That's true.
I try to keep him away from that. Like I feel like I'm better at just talking with them, and I won't get upset. I think Kenny's patience will be very short, and my kids might learn inappropriate words a little bit too early in life. Yeah, but I was gonna say one thing we talked about in when you interviewed us, Mark, was also that we have our separate like roles, or we know what we're, I won't say good, but maybe better at than the other person. But there's also a place where if you need help to ask for it. I recently came to a spot where I forgot what it was, but I think I was supposed to talk to a contractor and get something fixed, but I couldn't figure it out and I couldn't close it for the life of me. And, I was really struggling with it. I don't even remember what it was now, but I think I just decided one night to talk to Kenny about it. I don't know if Kenny remembers. And then he closed it for me in like 5 minutes. He's just like, oh, that's an easy decision. Just do that. But it took me forever to figure out. And I was questioning, am I doing the right thing? Should I go with this contractor, go with that contractor? Don't do this part of the job, wait until later. Oh, maybe as a designer. And Kenny's like, just take care of it like right now. Just do it all at once. Because if you have the contractor come back a second time, it's just going to be much more. So let's just do it up front. But it took me forever. And I still came out of that not knowing exactly what's the right thing. So I guess my point is that even if you're
Maybe she got a call from the doctor again. What about you, MJ?
Am I still
Any
there?
question?
Keep calling
now
me.
you are. Yeah. Oh, she did. See, she got a call. MJ, any questions for them?
No, pretty much explained it kind of good. No, no questions at the moment. I was just gonna mention, me and my girlfriend, like I said, I do a good job as finding the property. She do a good job after I acquire the property to find the people to like fix things that go on within the property. But I do admire and value a woman's opinion on certain things, on everything essentially. But on the real estate side, it's like they look at things differently. Obviously, feminine, motherly, and things of that nature. Something we might overlook as men. We might just be just looking at profit. If they're like, no, look at this, look at that. This might be uncomfortable, unsafe for a single mother, and it's just like that's needed. That man and woman balance in opinions on real estate in general. So I think me and my girl do a good job at that, and we might kind of disagree on like tenants. She see tenants every day, all day. She understand more of the regulations in the city of Chicago. It's more of a tenant-friendly city, so she understand. Look, you want to get a good quality tenant up front. This person got a yellow flag. Why risk it? Why risk it? Wait. And I'm like, well, we can maybe overlook this. She's like, no, I think this play out, and But I just really value woman's opinion about real estate for sure.
Sounds like a keeper, man. We got some great questions coming. So Matt and Jess maybe can. So from Invest LYH, he says, great answers. What is the risk tolerance for each, and how often do you discuss each other's strengths?
Oh, risk tolerance. Well, I think for our relationship is like like when we just started, I was like, mid like early 20s talking about investing, and I was like off the charts risky, right? Like I was like, yeah, like this is gonna be a great idea. And then like obviously Jess is like kind of talking us down, like more methodical, analytical. Hey, like, like let's talk about it. Let's look at that step. So there's certainly times where Jess is the one to kind of mellow us out. Cause I'm like, I get super excited about ideas and then I'm just like, go, go, go. But for her to maybe be that good conscience in terms of like taking a step back, reevaluating things. I think that's definitely helped us in our relationship.
Yeah, and I didn't quite understand. I think this is like, I mean, this was early on, kind of when we first got married. I don't even know what prompt, like this, just talk about like risk, like what does risk really mean? And I don't think that I really understood it. Like Matt always said, like, high risk, high reward, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I don't know what that means. But it's like, I kind of saw it in action a few different times. And I think it didn't always pan out the way that Matt thought it would. And I think that was kind of a realization for both of us, where Matt was like, okay, maybe, I kind of want to scale it back a little bit. Like and he was kind of at that point making decisions. This was like kind of early on, but it didn't involve me. And I think as over the years when we've combined finances, I think Matt and both of us realized like whatever one person does, whatever mindset they have, it does like affect the other. So we've kind of tried to like meet in the middle a bit, and just definitely discuss it if there's something kind of big that we're heading towards.
I think Invest LYH is enjoying all your guys' responses to all of this. I think he's been through all of this. But
Yeah, it's the truth.
Kev, yeah, before we move on to the next one, Kevin and Leslie, who would you say is probably the risk taker in your guys' relationship?
It's funny you asked that question. We're kind of both are.
Yeah, we both are in different ways.
Because we first got it, our first property, we bought it for $22,000.
It was
Wow.
It was like the house
needed
was
like a
it needed
full
everything.
job.
Like the roof was coming down. Like
There was a hole in the roof. There was snow in the property.
there's literally snow in the property when we bought it, and we were like, "This looks great. Let's do it." And we were like gun ho, doing it all. It's beautiful property. We're like, now we're like, I don't think we'll ever do that again.
I don't know. Kevin had us walk through a property the other day that was like a huge rehab, total gut job.
Beautiful though.
Literally dead rats and rat poop as soon as we walked in.
Yeah, dead rats in the rooms. It was kind of dope. It's a 3-unit. So I'm like, we have a property right down the street. I'm like, I know the ARV. I know the potential. I'm like, let's buy it, right? But yeah, we're pretty much the same.
I think he's riskier with that. I think I'm riskier with trying new things. I'm just wanting to try even little things like let's try to do this part of the rehab ourselves. There's YouTube. We can call our friend Felix. And he's like, no way. I don't know. I can't do that. So I think it balances, but I think we're both risky in different ways.
Because my dad's a carpenter, right? So like I've done the work with him, and I understand. Like in my mind, I'm like, I know this is gonna be a lot more than what we think. My dad's a 30-year carpenter journeyman, and I'm like, every time I remember 9 years old working a property with him, and he opens the walls, he's like, "Oh, we opened a can of worms, son." And I'm like, that's embedded in my brain. So I'm like, yeah, it looks easy. It does. YouTube makes it look great, but I know when I open these walls up, there might be something I can't handle. So that's why.
All right, so Trade Better 99 asks, not to start any fights. Are there any triggers that you try to avoid disagreements? Mine is going to Mrs. Trade Better, but half of an idea.
I want to kind of still comment on the last question real quick. As far as numbers and risky, obviously I was very risky gambling, a lot of money, tens of thousands of dollars at the time. However, transitioning to real estate, even to put 15-20,000 for down payment closing costs is risky, not knowing your potential return on investment for the first 1 or 2 properties because you really don't know what you're doing. Right now, though, I'm kind of very conservative, and I do agree with a lot of the banking ideas and regulations. Like, for example, even with the 5% down for 2 to 4 units, if you own a property, you need 6 months reserve. I think that's excellent because things do happen, hiccups do happen. It's a lot of big ticket items in real estate, roofs, sewer scopes, stuff that can cost you 10-20,000, and a lot of people just don't got that money just to have it to repair these things. So I think being it's a happy balance, happy medium. Obviously, you want to be a visionary and see this and that, but do your numbers alterly conservative. And I do agree with the banks. They got the big statisticians on their team, psychiatrists. They got the big team of everything. So I just want to piggyback off them. They've been doing good over hundreds of years. So just be conservative, in my opinion. And risk tolerance needs to be a good balance. So that's it.
Yeah, Matt, you're going to say something?
Oh, no. I mean, I think that's good. This question I had was kind of relating to when Jen talked about that season 2, and then we kind of identified like that 1.5. I think for us, maybe talking with our peers and maybe friends that we have, couples we have, is the question I'd like to ask is, do you guys recall that moment that help you shift from 1.5 to 2 in terms of like getting on the same page financial literacy, kind of understanding. Because I think a lot of people get hung up on the kind of 1.5, and they stay at 1.5 until it's not really too late, I would say. But I think that realization was key for us, and I was just curious. Do you guys recall what point that was? Life event, something you heard, was it exposure to a mentor that you didn't even know you had a mentor in? I don't know.
Let me add to that real quick. I mean, was there also like, did you guys have to find new friends? Did your circle change? But yeah,
Yeah, I'll go quick. I'll go fast. I kind of mentioned it before with the gambling problem I had. Oh, with my friends, they didn't know. I didn't want. That's embarrassing to lose a lot of money that quick, so I wasn't telling nobody. I only tell them if I won, though, of course, right? But my 1.5x to two was just one time just losing $6,000 in 30 minutes. It was just like I got to do something different, and I just luckily it was the pandemic, so I was kind of housebound, and I just kind of ran across real estate, and I just went with it all the way. Just to keep a long story short, that was my 1.5 or two.
I don't think I've ever had a 1.5 stage. I think that, I grew up with not a lot of money, and I knew if I messed up, there was no cushion. There was nobody to fall back on. So I think I was actually the opposite, where I was like, too, like must save, no credit card debt, like must grind really hard, or else, I'm gonna be homeless. I always had that fear of just not having it and working so hard to have it that I don't think I had that stage. And I feel like most of my friends, I did have a lot of friends. I remember like right after grad school, I had friends that were going to Vegas every other weekend. I was like, that must be nice, but they probably don't have an emergency savings account. So I don't know if I can. I know you looked at me. I don't know if I can relate to that stage.
I don't think I can either. I've been homeless, so like me being homeless at like 19 and have to make a decision to go to the military was like real for me. So I've kind of always been like hesitant to like make a bad decision
well, let's
because
stay there real quick. Is that maybe why April Crosley, your mentor, you guys connected with her? Because I know her story is right. She was like a single mom at a young age, and that kind of is how her journey started, right?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of why we connected. Similar backgrounds, similar goals, similar fears.
values.
Yeah.
And like that's why me and my wife are very like huge components on like having a coach. I know a lot of people are kind of not against it or not a fan of that because as everybody says they're coaching and not coaches, right? The whole YouTube world shows you how to make $1 million real estate in 6 months. Like that's not realistic, right?
Talking
Not
about
for
the
me,
20-year-old life coach.
huh?
I said,
Yeah,
talking about
yeah,
the 20-year-old life coach.
yeah. Like it,
Yeah.
it just, it just doesn't. So like we, like I was like, I'm not getting this unless we have somebody who's done it before who can tell me which way to go, which way not to go. Same drawback. My wife would like to go in the house, do the YouTube and fix his properties ourselves. Where I'm like, I'd rather go in there with my dad, who's a carpenter, and if something goes wrong, he can tell me how to fix it. And I ain't gotta sit here and type on YouTube and say, how do I fix this now?
Yeah, so I think having a coach that you connect with on the value level is important. But I also just even kind of connecting it to the risk question and something that MJ said. I don't even consider either one, even though we can take on risks. I would never consider either of us a risky investor. I think we're educated investors. And we still have that mindset when we go into a project like, will this be the project that causes us to lose everything? That causes us to not be able to pay for childcare? And like that's as long as the answer is no, then we can approach it.
Yeah, that's kind of how we approach it, man. I just feel like we kind of stayed in that bubble.
Hmm.
I like my bubble. I like safety.
Yeah, I like the bubble too. At least while yeah. I'll save that tangent for another live, but yeah.
Well, April Crosley spoke highly of you too. She said you guys are some of her favorites, and she was on Zuber's school community with a live session. I said I interviewed you folks, and she spoke highly of you. And She talked. I guess she's investing in mini cows too now or something.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty
that's
Yeah,
dope.
been
she
news.
talked about that. And then
Good
Trade Better
friend.
99 actually was in that live, and he basically made April Crosley cry with his question because it really touched her. He kind of asked her like about her story and how did she balance the grind but also family, and yeah, it really affected her, and she kind of dug deep and told her story, and It was a really touching story, but very motivating.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Kenny and Jess, what about you folks? I mean Kenny and Jen, did you guys have to change your circle or anything, or how did that go for you folks?
We haven't really changed our circle. I think after having kids, I mean, we rarely see our friends, so I think that kind of helped.
We don't have a life now.
Yeah. So they actually don't know we invest in real estate. At least most don't. I think a couple of Jen's friends know, but none of my friends know. But again, I haven't really had time to really hang out with them or really, have real conversations with them. So I think that's probably one of the big things. Why?
Yeah, I feel like we've added, right? My
Yeah.
friends know a little bit. I mean, I sometimes I feel like it's a mindset thing, right? When you say too much, you're kind of like flaunting, and I don't like to talk about it when I'm not quote unquote successful yet. Like, why are you bringing this up to me here? And then I fail. I think that's kind of my own kind of mind just playing tricks on me. But if they ask and we talk about real estate, I don't mind bringing it up or talking about it, but I never initiate it because I always think you say it and then you're going to fail. Like, why did you even do that to yourself? So again, I think that's just my own mind, but they're not interested and that's fine. So I just leave it out there. Like, if you ever want to talk about it, like, I would love to talk to you about it, but if you're not ready, then that's fine. So I feel like I've added to my network. So this year has been a lot of making myself and Kenny uncomfortable by going to meetups and adding to our circles. So I feel like we've done that. But, I know Zuber talks about get new friends. So we've done that. And like, I think he kind of implies maybe leave your other friends but we haven't done that. But I think we've added to our circles. And I was going to say for Matt, like, I feel like our 1.5 to 2 was just the kids and COVID and just we were actually really fearful because we're in California. So the whole city and state shut down. We were both really afraid that we would lose our jobs. And we've cycled through the 2009, 2008. And we also thought we would lose our jobs. But that time we were a lot younger. So Kenny and I just thought, ramen, spam, we're okay. But this time around, we had our younger daughter was like 9 months. So then it was about like giving them fresh food and milk and formula. And that became our priority of why we shifted, I would say. And then since being on this journey intentionally, Kenny always says intentionally, now it's just about wanting to spend more time with them and realizing my eldest is like 6 years old. So like in 10, 12, not even 10 years, but like in 6 years, she won't even want to be associated with me. And want me to drive her around. So kind of really trying to capitalize on that time and getting us there so we can spend more time with them. And then once they're older, they're not going to want to, be with us, right? It won't be cool. So I think for me, that's kind of why I'm rushing maybe too much sometimes, to try to get there so then I can be. So I feel like for us, it was just feeding them and the essentials and now just being with them and being close to, have that bond. Kenny, will you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all great points. And so Trade Better 99 says, talking about risk again, I could see Matt say risk is just a word in the dictionary. Then, of course, Matt follows up with profit comes before risk in the dictionary. So,
I like that.
but Jen and Kenny, you guys are actually the opposite, right? Because it seems like, there's Jen, you are the risk taker, right? I believe.
Yes, I'm more risky, and Kenny grounds me to make sure I don't lose everything in the household. So yes, that's worked out really well. I just throw ideas at him. I throw opportunities at him. And then if he says no, I trust him. Sometimes I'm like, are you sure? Like 10 times. But at the end of the day, he holds firm. So I'm really thankful I have that to make sure. And I know that, right, in our formula, I know he's the one that says no, and I need to respect that. And if I can't convince him afterwards, then I kind of take a step back. So I'm really grateful that I have that in the partnership. Otherwise, I think I would get myself in a lot of trouble. Yeah. Kenny, you have nice things to say about me? No.
Yeah.
You
But
better,
you're
Kenny.
She's like,
silent,
I'm waiting.
so.
I'm waiting for that laundry list. Come on.
She's a
What are you
great
gonna
lead
say?
funnel.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that balance has worked out. I mean, she's the one finding me pretty much all the leads for me to underwrite. So, and we've gotten a few.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been good, and I would say I have to drop in like 3 minutes. I have a meeting, but I would say that it's made our marriage stronger. I would say. I mean, not that it wasn't before. I just feel like having that goal, that collective goal, and working together for it, um, while understanding our strengths and balancing life, I feel like has made our relationship stronger. And I don't even think we do date nights right now, Kenny, right? Our kids are so young, they just need us all the time. And
Yeah,
our work is so demanding and just other family stuff that I think our bonding is when we spend like an hour in the morning before we go to work, and then an hour at night or a couple hours after the kids are asleep before we go to bed, just talking about real estate. I think that's brought us together. Like we don't even have bandwidth or anything to like do outside for just the two of us. But I think just talking about our girls, talking about what our lives will be 10 years from now after we do the grind, talking about real estate, talking about deals. Personally, for me, I don't know how Kenny feels. I feel like that's made our marriage a lot stronger and our relationship a lot stronger.
yeah, I agree with that. As for the date night thing, I think our ideal date night is just sleeping.
Sleep. Yeah, like
That's
for
funny.
Mother's Day, he's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "I just want to be alone and sleep." And then for Father's Day, what do you want? It's just basic stuff that you take for granted when prior to being so busy with life, right? What life brings you. Yeah.
All right. Well, before Jen bounces off, then is Jen an introvert? Do you guys think she's an introvert?
I think she's like Leslie. She's an introvert, extrovert. Like she's both.
Extroverted, introvert.
Extroverted, introvert. Yeah, she knows when to turn it on, when to cut it off. That's all.
100% extrovert. Playing devil's advocate here.
Yep. That's what I said.
He's right through it.
All right, I have to go. I appreciate you guys. Thank
All right.
you,
Thanks,
Mark, and
Jen.
thank you,
We'll see
everybody.
you on
Nice
again.
meeting you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, well, if you guys can, we'll maybe go like 5-10 more minutes. I gotta bounce. I gotta actually work today, MJ. Even though you think I don't work, but
Surprising, man. You getting that easy fire money, man. I wish I would have been a fireman.
if Kevin and Leslie, if you're okay, I mean, I know, sorry, like we said, sorry about the loss of your daughter, but if you're okay talking about it, but I mean, have you had to deal with significant loss, and how did you support each other through? You guys kind of touched on it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it was in March, so we're still working through it every single day. But I do think the therapy, like we mentioned, was very helpful, and just giving each other grace, but also like, it's, I think, that after like 2 weeks had passed and like we could breathe a little bit, we felt like we had to jump right back in and like it was business as usual because we had the mindset, okay, well, all of my income comes from our businesses and we can't live off his income alone, so we just got to jump right in. And I don't think that that's the healthiest thing to do. I think you really have to think about having conversations with the people that you work with, your lenders, your contractors, your coach, and letting them know what's going on, filling in the gap where you can for each other and taking the time, because there's some losses where you can't just jump right back in it. It's not going to help your business. It's not going to help your marriage. It's not going to help you individually. So I think, we talk about a lot of us being in the grind mode right now. So that's so hard to step out of, especially when it feels like you are dependent on it to sustain your livelihood. But if you can allow some space to step away from that during a time of loss, I think it ultimately helps with the healing.
Yeah, and we had like I couldn't I literally my daughter passed on like Saturday, and I was talking about real estate at an event on Monday. Like And then the week after, we had to talk at an event 2 weeks later about real estate. Um, it was just more or less like we had to just really support each other. Um, I lost my mom when I was 13, right? So like I thought like losing my mom was the biggest death of my life, right? And then like losing my daughter was like even harder. And I had like I had to give my wife space because she carried our child and she was there and she experienced the loss way different than I did. So as a man, I had to kind of like put everything on my back and keep pushing, and like it was either do or die. Like at one point where like we had to get back to work because if not, our business could fail. Because like lenders, wanted answers. We got projects going over. The climate's changed from last year, right? Refinancing ain't as easy as it was last year, right? It's just things are all these different external factors are happening all at once, and then in the midst of all this, we lose our daughter. Dad was like, what? And then you're just like a matter of just prayer and just trusting whatever source you believe in, and it's like muddling through it and just trying to fight. One thing that God has and taught me is like have grace for everybody, because you never know what's going on in someone's life. Because man, we're still battling. I'm not gonna tell you no lie. I'm not gonna take the funk. Act like
You're still
we
in it.
we're still in it. We still battling. We're work. We got deals that are over. We got things happening, but we gotta keep pushing to figure out how to continue our business and make it successful. And it's just real.
Yeah, I think it just puts everything into perspective, and I think that's where the support comes in, and like you said, talking about things, and if you go to therapy if you need to, but it's just that foundation of support and being on the same page and being there for each other is super helpful. Yeah, maybe we'll just wrap things up soon. Maybe last question from Invest LYH. So I had him on my channel also, and we kind of came up with this term, the ego tax, where it's expensive having an ego. As far as you're worried about what people are thinking, what you're doing, whether you're making the right deals, whether you're doing the right thing. So it's kind of a expensive place to be if you're worrying about what other people are thinking of you, and it's kind of a high tax to pay. So have any of you encountered something like that?
Ego tax? No, I have not. I'm pretty much a humble, conservative, not caring what people think type of guy. So I'm used to it. Um, I'm really a delayed gratification type of person. I mean, I like say gambling taught me a lot of lessons. They sell you a dream essentially. They let you win $400-500 to take 4-5x that, and it's just like patience. Just it's no shortcuts in life, or it's more risk to that way. So I just look at it like delayed gratification. All the microwavable instant success, I'm just not convinced about it or believe in it no more. So I just, walk the talk, and, even to see people that's successful and that's made it, that's like very like humble, and like a person like Thatch, and he don't, he wear a lot of hoodies and stuff to say mindset or whatever, and this guy, um, I believe he's a multimillionaire, Thatch from the Washington State area, or whatever.
Yeah,
He got all these cars
absolutely.
and this that,
Yeah.
and he's very humble as far as his appearance and how he dressed per se. That just like really resonates with me. So yeah, yeah. And even like Lumberjack, Zuber, and Dion, they not no real big like fly people as far as just like dressing wise. I'm referring to. So
Well, until Lumberjack gets his what Lamborghini? What is he looking for?
I don't know. I think he should get a bigger car, something to sit up higher, to
Yeah.
get Tacoma or something. I don't know.
Yeah, for us, I think like kind of as we've grown and throughout this journey, we continue to grow and make mistakes and learn. I think we kind of step back and think, what do we prioritize? And I think for us, you know, prioritizing maybe that external validation might have taken a higher precedence, like just starting on and being very early, putting ourselves out there, I think the more and more that we realize, like, they're not paying our mortgage, they're not paying the note, they're not paying the taxes, they're not, adding more income to our bottom line. So I think you prioritize and identify, what really moves the needle and what doesn't. And I think for us, that kind of helped us maybe get over that hump, because it is a, to say that we don't care what people think, I think is, there's a little bit that you care. And I'm sure as you get older and you mature and you grow up, you care less and less, I think, what people think. But I think just it's just our nature in this social media age, and us growing up in a, maybe at a younger age, like that was just the thing. So
Mhm.
I'm sure you don't worry what anyone's, because you guys talk about your Tesla and you guys know you guys are gonna get hate for that, and that's
Oh,
so
we
I'm
just
sure
you just gotta,
oh yes, people do have
we
that's
welcome.
strong opinions about
see.
Teslas. I know. I think that that's kind of to echo what Matt's, or can I just add on it? I know that, yeah, people's opinions are just opinions, and you just gotta. I mean, this is something that I've struggled with, but just not letting them like influence you. Like it's just like they don't have your best interest. Um, so you just kind of have to be, solid in what you feel is right, and if you are, then you can't really like let anybody else's opinions, they don't matter so much. But it's hard, especially when people have negative stuff to say, and you just kind of have to let that
Just rub that dirt off your shoulder.
yeah, just
Yeah.
roll off your back.
Be like a duck.
Yeah.
Well, Kenny, what about you? And then we'll let Kevin and Leslie finish things up with the question.
Yeah, I don't think I've had it. I'm not as caring of what people think. Yeah, there's some degree of it, but I think ever since we started our real estate journey, I mean, our why was for the girls. So I think we've just been focusing on trying to get to our financial freedom just so we can spend more time with the girls. So I think everything else after that kind of, we don't, if it's not conducive to going towards our goal, we don't really care too much.
All right, Kevin and Leslie, wrap us up.
Ego tax.
I don't think that we have a big ego in this business. I think, similar to what you just said, the main focus is obviously making sure we can care for our little guy and the future of our family. But I will say something that I think we both still need to work on. This is one thing our coach said. If something goes wrong in your business, it's always your fault. And I think whenever I'll speak for myself, I don't speak for you. I hold myself to a really high standard as to like communicating when there are issues and being conservative and throw in my numbers. And so it's hard for me sometimes to not want to blame the contractor or to not want to blame the property manager, but it is not my fault because it's our business. So no matter what, we're the ones that are being held accountable for that. So I will say that I think that can fit in the ego area, and that's a working thing I'm trying to work on. I need more coffee. Does that make sense? A working thing I'm working on.
Yeah, so I guess that would be the ego tax right there. Basically when things go wrong in our business, checking ourselves and saying, hey, what did we do? What could we have done differently?
Mhm.
What did we do wrong? Where did we go wrong in our business? Where did we go wrong with this deal? Other than that, we don't typically have much of an ego. I think that kind of keeps our ego out in check is we've had deals go wrong. Real estate is humbling.
Right?
Like it is humbling. It don't matter how well you think you're doing, there will be a deal. There's going to be something. It's going to humble you. Somebody once told me, whatever will go wrong, whatever can go wrong will go wrong. That's what I've learned.
Well, and
in
you guys
real
have a
estate.
video on that, right? So I would go
Yes.
check out your guys' channel. You guys talked about one of your deals on how, cost was a lot higher than you guys expected, and there was a lot
Yeah.
more renovations and a lot of
Yes.
obstacles. And yeah, you guys put it out there and showing people that, you guys are doing the work. So, I love that. But one thing I want to say is, I definitely admire what all of you are doing, just because I do have a son, but it's like I'm able to make decisions on my own as far as investments, right? So it's easier for me. I don't really have anyone to have to run things by, or I can make the decision. You folks all have someone else that you're on this path with, and it definitely can provide different challenges, I'm sure. So I admire all the advice and recommendations you guys have and what you guys are doing. So I love it. And yeah, this was fun. And if anyone got any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
Yeah, real estate is very humbling, and no matter kind of how much money you got, it's always something to spend or buy or whatever. So it's like it helps you. It pretty much mandate that you keep your finances in order too as well.
Well
Yep.
said. Well said.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everyone for doing this. Thanks, Jess, for finally getting on.
It was
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and then
Thanks
we'll
for
get you
having
and
me.
Matt together and do something together. And yeah, I'll keep having you folks back on if you guys want to do it. And I'll be
Yeah.
back Wednesday with Joel, Trade Better 99, and Curtis. Curtis gonna be back. PE turned RE. If you guys haven't checked out his now that's all about sacrifice. I don't know if you guys saw his YouTube video I posted, but he's a big dude. He's like 6'4". He played football, but he did a house hack and he was living in a 200 square foot little unit.
Oh,
He
that's
boarded up
small.
one of the rooms with some soundboard, and he had no shower in there, just a toilet. And he would shower at the gym, shower at the mom's house, shower at the girlfriend's house, and that's how he did his first house hack. And now he's on his second one, but he said he has a shower now, so he stepped up his
The
game.
baby, so baby step, baby
Yeah,
step right there.
yeah.
That's
But
good.
all right,
Thanks
thanks
for having
everyone
us.
for doing this, and we'll be back.
All right. See
Yeah.
y'all.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you.